Everyone, welcome back to the show. So, I am doing a live stream tonight. I just want to talk a little bit about this impeachment and give you guys some updates when it comes to that. And the main reason that I want to talk about it is not really for the reasons why you might think. This type of stuff to me is the best way I can say this, very irritating because it's all smoke and mirrors. And that's the problem that I have with what we have right now in Congress. We have a lot of people in Congress, or we have some people in Congress that don't want to legislate. And all they want to do is create chaos. And in my opinion, this is just a chaotic situation. They're creating this so they can perhaps run on it, but it really doesn't do much. And we'll talk a little bit about it. I'll get into it in a second. But as you guys come in the room, just let me know you're here by saying, letting me know your name and then where you're coming from. And I'll give you some shout outs and then we'll get started with the show. I'm going to show you guys a clip. Associated Press put out a clip, so I'll show you their clip. I like to use Associated Press or Reuters. They generally have the most unbiased reporting. And so that's why I want to show you guys that. And then we'll get into X, formerly known as Twitter, and we'll see what people are talking about on there. But for the most part, it's a shame really because you're wasting time. You can be doing so many other things right now, moving forward different legislation to help the American people, but you're focused on this impeachment. They've been focused on this impeachment ever since they came back, since January. Okay, they've been focused on this. Even prior to that, they were putting putting things in motion, but we haven't seen any real legislation this year because they're focused on this. And so we'll talk a little bit about it. All right, I see people coming in the room now. And like I said, let me know your name and where you're coming from so I can give some shout outs before we get started. And Switch is watching from Minnesota. I was going to say Mississippi. Thank you for joining us, Switch. Angel, let's see. Angel's coming in from Florida. Thank you for watching, Angel. Alan Johnson coming in from so it's Keith. Alan Keith, you got me confused. Right, so Keith coming from here, Georgia. I don't know where that is. Carol's coming in from San Francisco. Welcome. Marshall is saying hi. Welcome, Marshall. And we have David coming in from Missouri. Sarah is watching us from somewhere. We got somebody from Long Beach in the house. Fareed, thank you for watching, brother. Let's see. Gloria is coming in from New York. Miss Ann is coming in from Georgia. Brenda is watching us from, let's see, I just lost the screen here. Richmond, Virginia. Wow, we got a lot of people in here watching from all over the U.S. And sometimes I have people watching from other countries as well. So let's see. Carol from San Francisco. I think I said that already. All right. So I want to get started. But first, I want to show you guys a clip. And this clip is going to be from the Associated Press. They're just going to kind of talk a little bit about this. And we're going to talk a little bit about this, and then we'll just talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. So if you guys have something specific that you want to talk about put it in the chat, and hopefully I'll be able to see it. If I don't see it initially, maybe you might want to put it in again. Sometimes the screen will move up on me, so I'm not able to see everything all the time. And so sometimes I have to, let's see, I don't know what just happened right now. Sometimes you might have to put it in again. I don't know why we just lost our, all right. Okay, give me 1 second here. My screen changed on me. Oh no, that's not good. Oh, okay. All right. We're good. All right. So I'm going to show you guys a clip first, and then we'll talk a little bit about this. But this is in reference to this impeachment. And then we're going to talk about where does this go? Because like I said, this is all smoke and mirrors. All smoke and mirrors. I was looking at Twitter before we got started, and Lauren Boebert is out there on the Capitol Hill steps. He's claiming victory. Victory for what? Let's talk about it. Is this really victory, or is this just just wasting time, wasting tax dollars? Okay, let me show you the clip first, and then we'll come back. Here we go.
I'm Rebecca Santana, Homeland Security reporter for the Associated Press. House Republicans have voted to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. House Republicans needed a simple majority for this second vote to succeed. A previous attempt to impeach the secretary last week failed after all Democrats and a handful of Republicans voted against it. So what does this mean? The House has approved articles of impeachment against Mayorkas, but it's not the same thing as removal from office. Impeachment is a tool that Congress can use to try to get rid of officials, but it is rare for it to be used for a cabinet secretary. The last time it happened was in 1876. In this case, Republicans in the House say that Mayorkas has refused to comply with immigration laws, and that is what is leading to the surge of migrants at the southern border. Mayorkas says that these charges are baseless, and Democrats and legal experts have said that this is essentially a policy dispute between Democrats and Republicans, and that impeachment is not justified in this type of a situation.
The allegations are baseless, and I'm focused on the work.
Now the issue goes to the Senate. The Senate can either hold a trial on the articles of impeachment, or they can decide to send the issue to a committee for its own investigation. That would mean that there wouldn't be any decision immediately. Now, either way, there is unlikely to be a conviction in the Senate. A conviction requires a 2/3 majority of all senators. And that would mean that all Republican senators, as well as some Democratic senators, would have to vote to convict the secretary. And some Republican senators have been cool to the idea of impeachment. So Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas will likely stay in his job. But in an election year, Republicans are able to focus attention on issues they know are important to voters: immigration and border policy.
Okay, so as I was stating, when it comes to and just kind of piggybacking on what she's saying here, the House impeaches. So that's their role. The House will impeach, the Senate will try the case if they see fit to try the case. Now, in this situation, they might try the case, but I doubt it. And you need the 2/3 vote. So you're not going to get 2/3 vote to impeach or to convict. Okay, so the impeachment's already happened. So he has been impeached, just like former President Trump was impeached twice. But when it went to the Senate, he was not tried in the Senate. He wasn't convicted. And so this is one of those situations where we're in an election year, and that's the reason why they did this. And that's the reason why they waited, because reality is they were talking about this last year. For most of last year, they were talking about this. They were holding hearings. They were having Mayorkas come and to these hearings, subpoenaing him to come to the hearings and just, grilling him and all this stuff. But they didn't move forward until now because it's an election year. And that is the main reason why they're doing this. Now, the problem with doing something like this is you're basically, the American people will get frustrated and upset when they find out the fact that, okay, you did something, but it's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? It's just a waste of time. If you really wanted to address the situation that's going on at the border, and basically what they're saying is he was derelict in his job. So he didn't protect the border the way that he should have. Now, when it comes to policy comes from Congress. They're legislators. They're the ones that are creating the policy that Mayorkas, the president, they're creating the policy, that the laws basically that we utilize. And so to say Mayorkas is derelict in his job and not following the policies, what policies? And I don't know the specifics, and if they were saying, well, he didn't do this and this was, this is against the law or whatever they're saying. But when it comes down to it, if you want tougher policy, you have to create tougher policy. That has to come from Congress. So a lot of these lawmakers that are out there right now saying, yes, we impeached him. The reality is maybe we should be expelling some of these lawmakers as well, because they're derelict. They're not doing their job. So, and we just saw this whole border bill blow up in the Senate. Bipartisan bill. You had, Senator Langford negotiate with Democrats, put together this bill that had a lot of things in it that would address the border. And even the Border Patrol Association, the union, they were on board with this. They were on board with this bill. They said this would be a good start. Let's move forward with it. But guess what? It went nowhere in the Senate. And it had support initially, but then you had people start chiming in. You had former President Trump chime in and say, no, we can't do this. We can't do this border bill, because if we do this border bill, and he said this is the thing. It's not, some politicians they're not very direct. They're not going to give you the information. They're going to kind of, skate around it. But former President Trump said the reason why I don't want you to do anything about the border is because we need to run on this. Okay? And so by him saying that, you had senators start to backpedal. Oh, we can't vote on this bill. We can't pass this bill because we need to run on this. And so what's more important? And that's the thing that really bothers me about this whole impeachment, and bothers me about just Congress as a whole. What is more important? And this is both parties, both Democrats and Republicans I'm talking about here. And I want you guys to let me know in the chat what you think. But what's more important? The winning an election or helping the American people? Now, I would say helping the American people, that is the most important thing. Okay? Put a 1 if you think that helping the American people is where Congress should be. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot of 1s. But put a 2 if you think that the most important thing for both parties is to win. And I think we've gotten to the point where we have lawmakers that are forgetting their mission. They're forgetting why they're there. They're forgetting that we live in this, this representative democracy where we elect people, they go to Congress and they represent us. They're forgetting that. And what they're getting into now is just party politics. We need to win at all costs. That's all we care about, is winning. We don't care about helping people. We just care about winning. Because if we win, we're on top. We have the power. So I think we've gotten to a point now, and even in the past, we've had party politics. I get it. I understand. But we've always had lawmakers that have been at least level-headed enough to understand that at the end of the day, we need to help the American people because they're the people that put us here. We've gotten away from that. And now it's not about helping the American people. It's just about helping the parties. And so, I mean, it's really frustrating for me to see stuff that's happening right now and see the joy that these lawmakers are getting. And I guess maybe in the past we didn't have social media. And I think social media and lawmakers, we're now getting to see behind the scenes of how they really feel about things. And maybe that's the reason. Maybe it's been going on for so long, but we haven't seen it because of social media. And now social media is out there, and you have lawmakers that are tweeting things and coming on and talking about all this different stuff. And now we're getting to see kind of behind the curtain when it comes to how these lawmakers really feel. And this is not all lawmakers. I do think there's some good lawmakers out there that are really trying to help the American people. Those are the people that we need in office. But people who are just there to grandstand, people like, and I'll say Lauren Boebert, she's just out there trying to earn a living by staying on Twitter and trying to I don't know what she's doing. She's not helping her district. She's just out there causing problems, causing chaos. And so that is not going to help us in the long run. I see a lot of you guys put ones here. I haven't seen a 2 yet, but I'm sure I'll see a 2 just because, some people have to disagree. They just have to disagree, right? But the bottom line, yes, when it comes to this whole situation, it's not going anywhere. He was impeached. So Mayorkas was impeached, and now it's going to go to the Senate. The Senate is not going to convict him. So it's just really a waste of time. Basically, from this point on, maybe it's good that they've gotten by this, gotten past this. Congress has gotten past this, or I should say, the House has gotten this out of their system, and they can use this to run on. But if you really want to help the American people, then work on a bill. Work on a bill for the border. That's what you need to be focused on. And that's the sad part about it is they're not focused on that. They've stepped away from that. You get a bill that has support from Border Patrol agents, from the union, and you're going to say, no, we're not going to move forward with that. Oh, you know what? It has money for other, foreign countries in there, so we're not going to vote on that and pass it. But a bill that is just, the Senate just passed this $95 billion bill that aids foreign countries, just foreign countries, not the border. They just voted and passed that in the Senate. Now it's going to probably die in the House, but they voted and passed it in the Senate. But they wouldn't pass a border bill that had the aid to other countries. It doesn't make any sense. And some of the arguments, I heard some of the arguments. I was watching the Senate floor, and some of their arguments was that very thing that, it doesn't have, why are we protecting other countries and we're not protecting our own? Well, we had a bill that protected both our country and other countries, but you voted against that. So at least a procedural vote. All right. So, all right, where are we now? Yeah, so I do see a lot of ones. Derek coming in from Arizona. Thank you for watching, Derek. How about having a tribute? What is it? Billionaires. All right, I got to screen some of these. That was nothing wrong with that one, but some of these I have to remember. I can't just start reading out loud because sometimes people put things in there that maybe they shouldn't be putting in there, and I don't want to have to repeat it online. And OMG says, I thought you were live streaming on Thursdays. I will be live streaming on Thursday, but I want to come in. Sometimes, I miss you guys. I just want to come in and talk a little about some of the stuff that's going on. And especially if it's something significant, we can just sit and talk. And if you guys have questions about other things, we can talk about that as well. Work on a deportation bill. Well, that bill... that bill that we're talking about, or that I was just talking about in the Senate, it had a lot of provisions in there. And like I'm saying, when it comes to bills, it's a start. And that's what I listened to the union boss, or they're not really unions when it comes to government associations. So the head of the Border Patrol Agents Association, he was talking about this. He was very frustrated with this whole situation because he saw a bill that could benefit the people that work in Border Patrol. He saw that just go down in flames. And so he was very, very frustrated. And he was saying, look, this is a good start. We can work from this. At least it gives more power to Homeland Security, and even the president has a little more authority in the sense that they can they're forced. Actually, Mayorkas, the Secretary of Homeland Security is forced to close the border at certain times if it reaches a certain level of people coming in. And so now we have nothing. So instead of doing something, we have nothing. And that can go indefinite. We don't know when that's going to end. We could have nothing until election time. And some lawmakers want us to have nothing until election time because they want to run on the fact that people are still coming in. They want to run on that. And who does that help? It only helps them. It doesn't help the American people, because if we have chaos at the border, why not fix the chaos now? And I've always said this. Fix the chaos and run on the fact that you fixed the chaos. But some lawmakers don't want to fix the chaos. They want the chaos to be what they run on. They don't ever want to fix the chaos, because if you fix the chaos, then they feel, well, we don't have anything to run on. But you run on fixing the problem, not causing the problem. So, all right, let's see. Let me see. You guys got me fired up here. Glenda from North Carolina, thank you for watching, Glenda. William from Fremont, Ohio, thank you for watching. Let's see. I moved to another country just to find the cheapest cost of living because I'm just receiving $1,200. I would imagine in retirement, Social Security. That's Naga saying that. Yeah, you have people that do that. They will move out of the country. I travel to Colombia a lot, and I come across expats, people who have left the U.S. and moved to Colombia, and very, very interesting. I don't know if I could. I don't think I could ever move full time, but I love traveling, and I love going to other countries and spending. Oh, hold on a second. Got Lauren Boebert here talking. I don't think I can move full time, but I see the benefit in that, especially if you're receiving $1,200 a month. I mean, that's not a lot of money. Well, I mean, could you live on that? Could you live on that in the U.S.? You could live on that in Colombia. You could live on that in the Philippines and Thailand. But in the U.S., yeah, that'd be really tough to live on. All right, so let's see. We're just going to move down and see if people have some other questions or comments. Okay. And so Cheryl here is saying that it was a crap bill, close the border. Okay, so my question is, I don't even need to get to the very end here. What does it say? In North and South, and not more time in Ukraine. So no more money to Ukraine is basically what she's saying. Now, so no more, close the border, no more money to Ukraine. Closing the border. How do you do that? How do you actually, do we close? I mean, because we can close the border, but that means nothing comes in and nothing goes out. So that means that businesses, companies in the U.S. that do business with Mexico could no longer do them. Mexico could no longer send in products to us, and we get a lot of products from Mexico. Believe it or not, a lot of produce comes from Mexico. So if you want to pay $15 for an avocado, or maybe that's a little too much, $10 for an avocado, okay, we close the border. We have to close everything. We can't just say, oh, we're going to close the border. Close the border. I don't even know. Closing the border means locking everything down. That's what we would have to do. And there would be an extreme cost to that, because we have a lot of, I live in Southern California. I've gone down to the border from time to time. I had to go down there when I got my global entry card, basically global entry if you're a traveler. I had to go down there because I think it was Otay station is where I had to go do like an interview, and then they give you this global entry card. And global entry card is good when you're coming back into the country. It's a quicker process. I mean, it's crazy how fast it is. If you travel outside of the U.S., you have to look into global entry. But anyway, I'm going off topic. Yes, we can lock down the border, close it off, not let anyone in, not let any vehicles in, but that would be a huge cost to our economy, a huge cost. And so a lot of the stuff that they're talking about that's coming in illegally, like fentanyl and things like that, they're coming through they're not coming, they're not, people aren't bringing them like, coming across the border and bringing them that way. They're actually coming in through the ports. That's where they're coming in. And so, yes, we have checkpoints and things like that when people come, when the vehicles come through, but they're not able to catch everything. And so the vast majority, that's how they're coming in. Now, you have other people that are seeking asylum. So they get here and they're seeking asylum. Part of that part of the border bill address the fact that they were going to have stricter requirements for people who are seeking asylum. Okay. It's not against the law for you to seek asylum. So if you come and declare, say that you're fleeing, a country, violence in a country, then you get a hearing. And so another part of that border bill was to address the fact that we have too many people coming in at this point where they can't get hearings done fast enough. So that's why they were going to slow the process up. People come in, they get a hearing. If you have, I think, 5,000 per day for a 7-day period, if it's something like that. They have some calculation. But if it goes over that amount, then they will shut down that process. Okay, so you won't be able to seek asylum. You're going to have to stay in Mexico, and then when they have adequate staff in order to have these hearings held, then they'll start allowing people back in. Okay, so that's one thing. But if you're talking about just completely shutting the border down, financially, it would be bad for us, and it would be bad for Mexico as well. But it would be really bad for us because the cost of things will go up. I go to the supermarket. I'm in Southern California. You guys let me know in the chat if it's different where you live, if you don't live close to a border. But when I go in the grocery store and I go in the produce section, a lot of the produce will say that it's coming from Mexico. Avocados and different things, it says that it's coming from Mexico. It'll say U.S., and this is what really gets me. They'll have products coming from the U.S., or produce coming from the U.S., and then produce coming from Mexico. Guess which one's more expensive? The ones coming from the U.S. Crazy, but the ones coming from the U.S. are generally, I won't say generally. I've seen on a pretty normal, regular basis, they'll have them side by side. Onions, green onions. One coming from the U.S., one coming from Mexico. The one from Mexico is like $1.99 each or whatever. No, it's not that much. It's like $1 each, 99 cents each. And then the one from the U.S. is like $1.50 each. So, all right. Let's see. You guys have questions? Any other questions here? We'll go through a few. I just wanted to come on and talk a little bit about this. Let's hear what Lauren Boebert was saying. I have her on like a loop on my screen here. That's why you guys heard her earlier. Let's see. Screen went out. And I listened to this. I don't think it's a really short clip, so I listened to this already. But I want you to just listen to the joy that she's getting out of this. Okay? Now, mind you, this is going nowhere. Okay? But the joy that she's getting out of the chaos. Like, she feels like there's a sense of accomplishment that she's feeling here that realistically you shouldn't be feeling. I mean, it's almost like you make a great play in a football game and you're excited about it, but it doesn't lead to a win. It ultimately it doesn't lead to the win. So you want to win. It's like you're down. This is a better example, and I'm using football, so I know not all of you might not watch football, but let's say you're down 50-0 and you score a touchdown. You score a touchdown, very rarely will you see that player be all excited and throwing, spiking the ball. And, yeah. You're down by 50 points. So you scored a touchdown, but you're down by 50 points. You're probably going to lose anyway. So there's really no reason to be cheering about this. Yeah, you're closer. You're closer to that other team that has 50 points, but it's nothing really to celebrate about. You kind of just score and you go to the sideline. Okay, let me show you this clip of Lauren Boebert talking about this. On my screen. All right.
Delivering for the American people, and I'm proud to be a part of it. In the last 24 hours, House Republicans blocked sending nearly $100 billion of your money to prolong foreign endless wars. And just now, we impeached Secretary Mayorkas, who's endangered our country by deliberately handing over control of our southern border to the cartel. Now that's delivering for the American people, and I'm
That is delivering for the American people. That's all you have to do now. You don't actually have to move things forward. I mean, she's talking like this is, we're delivering for you. We're taking care of you. Okay, so you have the foreign aid, that money that, the foreign aid bill that the Senate passed. Okay, now, I get it. Some people look at that and say, why are we sending this money to other countries? This money should be staying in the U.S. I completely understand what you're saying. I think there's a lot we don't know about, international policy or international. I think a lot of this has to, with this money that we're sending to other countries, a lot of this has to do with we see an opportunity, and this is, I'm talking about, our government sees an opportunity where we can have other countries fight some of our battles. That's the way that I see it, or weaken some of our, weaken some of the other countries that we might not be aligned with. That's and I won't say that's the reason, but that's the thing that we don't know. So yes, sending a lot of money to other countries, I get it. You have a lot of people that are upset with that, and rightfully so. But just listening to Lauren Boebert just be, she's ecstatic. Like, we did this for the American people. Okay, so that part, maybe you can argue that ultimately, I think they'll find a way to send money to these other countries. I just we'll probably see something in the future. But when it comes to the last part that she's talking about, being happy and basically, with this whole impeachment thing, she knows the impeachment thing is going nowhere. She knows that. If you were to ask her right now, okay, I'm going to bet you $100, is he going to be convicted? She's going to say, no, he's not going to be convicted because you have Democrats running the Senate. Okay, so why are you so happy and saying that you're delivering for the American people when you know this is not going anywhere? You're basically just lying to the American people is what you're doing, because you know this has no chance of passing, of him being convicted in the Senate. And so he's still going to be sitting there come November, and the American people are going to look at her and look at some of these other lawmakers and say, what happened? I thought you guys impeached him. Oh, well, the Senate, they didn't follow through and convict him. Okay, well, why were you so excited about this when you knew it wasn't going to go anywhere? Just like the football player who scores a touchdown when you're down by 50 points. Really not much to celebrate. You're just kind of there. Okay. You're misleading the public is what you're doing. And it will hurt you in the end, because the public is going to look at it and say, well, why were you so excited? You just wasted our time and our money because we pay you. All right, let's see. Let's see. Alan's saying try $943 a month. Living in another country? It's possible. I know that the other individual was talking about $1,200 living in another country. $943 is still possible. Now, it's very tight, but it is possible. Let's see. All right, guys, what do you have in the chat for me? Gregory's coming from Dallas, Texas. Okay. One more thing I want to talk about too, and I'll talk about this in a second. Just the CPI score came in. I want to talk about the inflation, where we are with that. Just a little bit. I'm going to do an actual video tomorrow, so I don't want to talk too much about it. All right. Anything else that you guys want to talk about right this second? And then okay. So let's talk a little bit about CPI. So we had the CPI score come in, and it ticked up just a little bit, and so that's not great news, basically. When it comes to, and I want to just show you if I can pull this up. When it comes to, here we go. Show you guys. Okay. So just looking at consumer price index, and what I like to do is just I like looking at graphs because they give me, it gives you an overall kind of view of what's going on when it comes to where we came from and where we are now. And you can kind of see if we're flatlined or if we're on the uptick, downtick. So we're looking at year to year. Okay. And this is core inflation, I believe. Yeah. Less food and energy. Okay. So this is core inflation. This is what the economists use. This is the barometer they use. Now we have regular CPI, or I say regular. We have CPI that includes food and energy. That, I believe it was at 3.1%. But then they like to look at core inflation. They want to take out food. They want to take out energy. When they're looking at core inflation right now is at 3.9%. Okay. And then, like I said, all items 3.1%. But you can see where we are. Okay, so this is probably June of 2022. Yeah, 2022 June, right there. That's when we saw that big spike. That was 9.1% overall inflation. That was crazy, right? We all remember that time. Gas prices were, we're talking about the summer, so gas prices were up, and everything was up. Groceries, all of that. And since then, we've been seeing this steady decline. Okay. Now I'm just looking at all inflation. So we've seen this decline, and we got to this point right here. And I believe that was 3%, maybe 3.1%. But we got down to that bottom, hit that bottom. And then what do? We jumped up a little bit. And then we flatlined here, and then we came down a little bit more. Flatline there, and then up a little bit. Now we're coming down just a little bit. Okay. Now, like I said, the barometer that the economists use and what they're using when they're talking about they want to cut interest rates, they use the 3.9%. So that's what they're focused more on, the core inflation. Okay. So just looking at core inflation, you see core inflation. When we saw that huge spike in June, core inflation kind of flatlined because when you take out food and energy, that's a lot. You're taking out a lot from this spike that we saw. So at this point right now, just looking at core inflation, it is it's flatlining right there. And so what they want is 2%. They want it to drop much lower, and it hasn't done that yet. And so when it gets down to that 2%, then that's when they really want to start looking at stimulating the economy more. So that's when we could see the interest rate cuts. But yeah, that's what we're looking at right now. Month to month, this is a good thing to look at as well. So same thing, June, we were looking at month to month. That is very, very high. Okay, so when they're saying month to month, so from December to January, what did we see as far as inflation? Did it increase, decrease? And we're seeing right now it increasing. Like it flatlined here in November, December, and then January we saw a 0.3% increase. Okay, so that means that things are costing more. Things today cost more, or I shouldn't say today. Things in January cost more than they did in December. That's the bottom line. By less than 1%, but it still was more. And so when you're going to the grocery store, the reason why we're talking about inflation, CPI scores down. It's down to 3.1% overall, 3.9% core inflation. Well, we won't even talk about core. Overall, it's 3.1% because that includes food and energy. But when you go to the grocery store, things are still expensive. Why is that? Well, because month to month, things are still on that uptick. Okay. And I don't know when that stops. The hope is that we will see grocery prices start to show a pattern of dropping, continuous pattern of dropping, but we just haven't gotten there yet. And that's why, even though our economy is, it's doing well as far as for the stock market is doing well, for your 401ks is doing well. Not today. Today was kind of a bad day in the stock market, but it's not doing well for especially people who are struggling, people on a fixed income, people who have to go to a grocery store and shop for food. Things are very expensive. They're not going down. All right, let's see. Final things here. Let's see. 2100 Act. I saw someone ask a question about a link to that. So, Art, I see you put 2100 Act in there. If you guys want more information about the Social Security 2100 Act, I posted a video yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, I posted a video yesterday. In the comment section, pinned at the very top, there's a link. Just click on that link. It'll take you over to the wording, the press release. So it has all the information there so you can look at it if you want more details. I saw someone ask about that earlier, and I don't know if that's what you're asking about there. My son's rent is $1,200 a month, so I can rent from him $500 a month. I get $740 a month. They drop most of my food assistance and benefits. Okay. All right. So, yeah, well, if you have an opportunity to, if you have family members and you can rent from them, $500 a month is very good. But I will say, and I'm not, I understand some people, and I'm one of them. I just can't see myself living in another country full time, but I could see doing it part time. And in situations like that, if you have 500, like you receive $740 a month, $500 a month can get you a nice place in some countries. Okay? And I can speak for Colombia. You can stay in some pretty nice areas for $500 a month. You have to do it right. You can't do Airbnb. Airbnb is going to charge you twice that much. It's funny when I rent, because I use Airbnb because I'm not there long enough in order to have because it's a little different when you're renting in Colombia. You usually have to go through like a rental company, and it's a little more difficult. Plus you have to show credit history and things like that, or you're going to have upfront money. So like here we have FICOs, so we can show our credit. But when you go to another country, your credit in the US means nothing to them. So if you don't have established credit, then now you're going to have to pay out of the pocket and pay maybe 6 months in advance, or at least 3 months in advance, just to stay there, because they don't know if you're going to, they don't know your situation. So, yeah, it can be done though. $500 a month can definitely be done. I've been to Thailand before, but I've never rented an Airbnb there. I only stayed in a hotel. But when I was but I've gone to Colombia plenty of times. And I know absolutely $350 can get you a pretty decent place in most of the major cities. Okay. All right, guys. Any other questions? I don't want to go too long here. What is our time? We've only been on 45 minutes. Long. All right. All right. I see we're still on that screen. Let's get off that. All right, guys. Anything else? Final call before we go. Glenda coming in from North Carolina. Thank you for stopping by, Glenda. Got somebody in here from Tennessee. Patrick from Tennessee. We have warmongers in government. Jamie is saying that. Annette saying how sad. Let's see. It's not Social Security, so it's not helping the American people. Art. Okay, well, there are other things that we can do to help the American people. I mean, Social Security is definitely something that needs to be reformed. But there are some other things. There are a lot of other things out there that Congress can be doing to help the American people. But I think we're in a situation we don't demand enough of Congress. That's one thing that I really try to push on this channel. The fact that we don't demand enough of Congress. They need to do work. They're not doing work. A lot of them aren't doing work. The video that I just showed you earlier, Lauren Boebert, she's not doing work. Name one bill that she authored, passed in the House and passed in the Senate. Name one. Nothing. Like, you have some lawmakers that are just sitting there. They're not doing. They're sitting on their hands. And when they get these little situations like this, like I was saying, it's that team that's down by 50 points and just scored a touchdown and they're cheering victory. Like, wow, you got a long way to go. All right. Let's see. What is the White House administration doing about Palestine, Ohio? Oh, Palestine, Ohio. Enrique is asking that. Yeah, I think I don't know if the president went down there or will be going down there this week. I did hear something about that. I don't know. I haven't been following that story. But that's definitely something that needs to be looked into. That was the whole situation with the train derailment. And that story kind of, dies out. And we see this a lot when it comes to government, right? You see this problem. We saw Flint, Michigan, the same thing with the water crisis. And you see these problems that happen, and then mysteriously they just go away. You don't hear about it anymore. It doesn't mean the problem was fixed. In a lot of cases, the problem isn't fixed, but we just don't hear about it anymore. All right, guys. So I just wanted to come on Thursday. I just wanted to come on here just to talk a little bit with you guys. But Thursday, make sure you guys come by. That'll be the regular live stream day, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'll have some stories to talk about. I've been putting up a lot of polls. So if you guys haven't seen my polls, they're in the community tab. So if you go to my channel, just go to my channel and then the community tab, click on that, and you'll see these different polls that I've been asking you guys to chime in on. And then on Thursday, we're going to pull up some of those polls and see what the results are. So we'll do that. and then we're going to talk about whatever other headline news that's going on. Okay. So we're going to do a final call here before we take off. And let's see. Just checking out the last things here. You guys are said. Mr. Talley coming in from New Jersey. Yvonne is saying these politicians are full of hot air. But do we allow that? And that's the problem. Are we allowing this? Let me know what you guys think. One, if you think we're allowing this. Two, if you think that we're on them. My opinion, we're allowing a lot of this. We're allowing these politicians to just get in there and not do anything. And we just don't say anything. So if you don't say anything, they're just going to continue to, not do anything because there's no pressure on them to actually do something. The only time they really feel pressure is right before an election. And that's when they get out and they start trying to talk about things that they've been doing, but realistically, those things are going nowhere. And I keep going back to Lauren Boebert. There's a lot of lawmakers that are doing the same thing, but I'm just going back to her because I played that video earlier. So she's kind of just fresh in my mind. But this time now they're coming out, oh, we did this and we doing this and we did. Okay, well, did it pass? Did it go? Is it law? No, it's not law. Okay, well then why are you talking about it? You're bragging about stuff that hasn't it hasn't gone anywhere. And it's your job to actually negotiate with the other side to get something done. So we can't just see you pass something in the House and say, look what we did. We passed something in the House. Yeah, that was easy to pass it in the House. But the hard part is to negotiate with the Senate so you guys can come on board and actually get something done for the American people. That's the hard part. The easy part, if you have the majority vote, and we just saw the reason why they were able to get this Mayorkas impeachment passed or done is because Steve Scalise, who is undergoing cancer treatment, was able to come and vote. He wasn't able to come vote last time, and that's why it failed last week. And so, I want to see you do something for the American people. I want to see you complete something. They're not completing anything. They're just, All right, I could talk about this forever. So I don't want to keep going on and on with this. If you guys can do me a favor, hit the like button. I didn't even ask you guys to hit the like button this whole time. So you can hit the like button if you're in here. Please do that. That does help out with the algorithm. And then one more thing before we go. So Enrique is asking about what's up with Santos. So, well, we know George Santos was expelled. Now his seat is open, and they're doing the runoff or the special election today, and I don't have any details on that as of right now to see who's going to win. I know the gentleman's name, Sakuzi or something like that. He is running against a lady, Police. I don't know these candidates. Let's see. What was he? District 3, I believe. Just type this in real quick, see where we are. I'll show you guys what I'm looking at here. All right, we'll look at this. We'll end with this. Oh, okay. So he is the projected winner. So that seat flipped. So, how do you say his name? Sukuzi? Suzi? I don't know how to say his name. But anyway, he beat Philippe. So they are projecting the winner 54%. And Wow, that was a quick. Yeah, 87% in. So it's a done deal. So the George Santos seat did flip to a Democrat. And so that's one less seat that Republicans will have in the House. That could have been another reason why they really wanted to push this impeachment thing through as fast as possible. And they did this revote today because they've lost a seat here. So, and this gentleman, I believe he was a politician before. I believe he was a congressperson before, representative in another district. So that is what we're looking at right now. Very interesting. Very interesting. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and take off. I appreciate you guys all stopping by. Just a quick little live stream I wanted to do here. And remember, like I said, Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we'll be back. We'll be doing another live stream.